What's up, everybody, and welcome to my Friday Night Smackdown review. Obviously, a lot to talk about tonight, so let's get right into it. As WWE pays tribute to Hulk Hogan, we started off the show with Triple H and the entire roster on stage with several WWE legends up there. I know I saw Jimmy Hart, Brian Blair, Sergeant Slaughter, I believe Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Gerald Briscoe, Ted DiBiase. We're all there to pay tribute to Hulk Hogan, who passed away yesterday at the age of 71. Triple H went on to say that he grew up watching Hulk Hogan and that he shared the ring with him at one point, and that nobody would really even be up here if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. And he led a 10 bell salute, which they did. And, everybody was respectful after and gave a round of applause and chanted Hogan. I'm sure a lot of people thought and wondered what was really going to happen here. I feel like it was going to end up like what happened on Raw several months ago. And I know there's been a lot of backlash since Hogan's death was announced yesterday. And I did speak about this in a video, which y'all can go check out right now. But I did say a few things just about, his death and, the good and the bad with Hulk Hogan. But it's like I said yesterday, it's one thing I'm not going to come up here and do is disrespect the dead and all that. Yeah, I didn't really mess with him like that. And you've heard me multiple times in the past say, fuck Hulk Hogan, but I'm not gonna go and just like I said, I'm not gonna go and disrespect the dead or like a lot of other people been celebrating his death and everything. So no, I'm not gonna do that and act like he didn't do nothing in wrestling, because like I said before, this is still like a very big and sad day in the history of professional wrestling and whatnot. So I'm not gonna act like he still wasn't one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling. But they did have a video package, which was narrated by Triple H, talking about Hogan's career from his start in the AWA to when Hulkamania was born within the 80s, and how he dominated the 80s and how he defeated the Iron Sheik for the WWF title. And basically talking about some of his opponents like Roddy Piper, Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior, and how the guy just went everywhere in mainstream when it came to like movies and TV shows and just like several other products that you couldn't get away from him, and talked about how he went to WCW, and talked about the heel turn, obviously, with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash being the third man, and how the NWO was formed and how they dominated WCW. And like I said, you got Hollywood Hulk Hogan at that time, and talked about how he came back in the WWE back in 2002, and talk about the match with The Rock from WrestleMania 18, which they spoke on. And basically, they even showed like his Hall of Fame speech from 2005, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, even in the Hall of Fame 2 times by himself, and even with the NWO back in 2020. And, Triple H talked about, like I said, he still did a lot all the way to the end. And, basically talked about his death and that, Hulk Hogan is dead, but Hulkamania will live forever. And, they went back to the stage where basically everybody gave a round of applause and cheered. And, they chanted Hogan in the end. So, real good tribute from WWE. Like, you knew they were going to have something ready, obviously. It was a pretty long video package, too. But obviously it was well-deserved and whatnot. So, it's like I said in the video yesterday when talking about Hogan's career. Like I said, it's a lot of good and bad talk about. And you already know how I feel about it. Like, if you really want to know what I've even said, go check out that video from yesterday. But a really good tribute to kick off the show. Right after that, though, I know they went to commentary. Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett. Tessitore was putting over Hogan, talking about the big, like being just one of the biggest draws ever. And even put him in the same like list with like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, and Tiger Woods. We did actually kick off, just like the regular show with SmackDown right now with Logan Paul, who is from Cleveland, Ohio, which he says, I came to the right ring. This is Cleveland and everything. Got him home, and fans, started booing him and everything. He said, I made this city and everything. And, he started talking about Jelly Roll in and talk about how bad his music was. And then Jelly Roll came out and got on the mics talking about him, saying, like, you're just one of these, I don't know, what do you call him? Like just a guy with a silver spoon in his mouth, and inspired, kids by making these videos of themselves being assholes and everything. And basically, he said he's going to get him at SummerSlam, and that he's going to be tagging with Randy Orton. Logan Paul basically talked about Jelly Roll, says, like, I know who you are. I'm going to put you back in a body bag and ship you back to Westlake. Jelly Roll basically said, yeah, I've never faced talk about he never faced adversity and everything, but he's fought back against people like Logan Paul before, and that's not gonna stop him now. And you don't want to make fun of my story and everything, but he's inspired millions around the world and all that stuff. So, I'm looking at this and it's like, why do I really need to see this? The SummerSlam, I don't really want to see this match, or with Jelly Roll in it. I don't really want to see it, nor do I really want to see Logan Paul anyways, but they really are trying to make this work. I still think Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre should be doing something bigger at SummerSlam, honestly. But Jelly Roll said that Logan Paul is soft as Charmin, and he's just a prime peddling punk ass bitch. Drew McIntyre got in the ring, stand next to Logan Paul, and Jelly Roll says, "You think I'm that stupid? You think I'll make a mistake and come alone?" Then start singing Randy Orton's theme song, which he came out there in the end, and basically all four of these guys end up brawling. Um, they fought. Orton and McIntyre fought to the outside and whatnot. Logan Paul basically had Jelly Roll start throwing punches at him once Orton was out of there. Orton pulled McIntyre out of the ring. Then they kept going back at it. Jelly Roll did like a few punches and did a black hole slam then onto Logan Paul as Orton and him stood tall then. Which I'm almost surprised he didn't try to get heat on the heels, but I guess they're gonna save that for next week. Like I said, I don't really want to see this match. I don't care, but obviously the crowd is eating this up. So we'll see what happens. Right after that, we had Alexa Bliss, who was also from Cleveland too, if I'm not mistaken, winning against Roxanne Perez. For some reason, she's been deaf rebelled now, so her music has changed. Me personally, I call this the battle of the squirrels right here, because you've heard me make squirrel jokes about both of these two before. But given the match how it was going, I figured what was going to happen here. Because I know Charlotte and Raquel were out there. There was a lot of shenanigans going on. Bliss, tried to get the pin. I think she had a bloody nose at one point, but Roxanne ended up getting like the roll up onto Bliss, getting the win. And I kind of figured like, okay, Charlotte beat Raquel last week, and now Roxanne ended up beating Bliss this week. So yeah, like I said, a little bit 50-50 booking here, but we're going to SummerSlam with the tag titles on the line, so we'll see what happens there. Next, I know they interviewed Jade Cargill in the end, basically talking about she's going to win the title at SummerSlam. Next thing you know, Chelsea Green and her Secret Service show up, which I can see she's been getting a lot of heat lately today, and in a way, somewhat rightfully so, given kind of what I've seen about her, what she said on Twitter, and which I thought was kind of weird. Like, why are you kowtowing and bowing down to the IWC? Like, you had like I said, you paid tribute to Hogan. You could have just went on from there, but for some reason, you let the internet get on your head, delete the tweet, and then put something else like, somebody told you to do it or something. It's like, no, like The Office, like, nah, you gave into the internet. You got tired of the backlash, even though there was nothing bad that she really said, but I think a lot of people really kind of calling her like either a coward now and bow down to the internet, which in a way, rightfully so. We really think about it, because like there was really no reason to even respond to the internet like that. Like, you should have had your first tweet up and gone about your day. But yeah, that, like, I've seen that going around a lot. But Chelsea Green basically went on and talked about Jade, which Jade ended up attacking her from behind then, and they had a match. Jade ended up winning, obviously, with the Jade. I'm not surprised it went like 8 minutes. I almost thought it was going to be a squash match there. But next thing you know, Secret Service ended up attacking Jade. Tiffany Stratton came out and made the save then, which will probably going to end up being a tag match next week anyways before SummerSlam, with Jade and Tiffany versus, Alba Fire and Piper Niven. So that's most likely going to happen. Right after that, Bliss was wiping her nose, as Charlotte said, this can't happen in SummerSlam, but we're partners, right? So, even though they kind of don't know if they're, like, we're not friends, but we're partners, but, they want those tag titles in SummerSlam. Next thing you know, Cody Rhodes came out. He came out there to cut a promo, and basically he talked about, Hulk Hogan and everything, and talked about, that WWE and Pro Wrestling lost one of its giants, and he said he knows a lot of emotion and feelings, which, are complicated and whatnot, but one thing that's not complicated is his accomplishments and contributions that he brought to the business and whatnot. And basically just wanted to say thank you, Hulk Hogan. And then he went on to talk about his street fight with John Cena, saying, like, we all know about street fights, and I'm tired of this John Cena and everything. Like, I don't want the John Cena that's just counting his days out the door. I want the real John Cena who talked to the cameraman, or, wears the title the right way and bring the hustle, loyalty, and respect. I want that John Cena to be at SummerSlam and whatnot. And the fans should start cheering for Cody Rhodes, obviously, and stuff. And he says like he wanted the real John Cena, and I want to see what you say next week. So yeah, that was a weird promo they still did last week. I thought that whole segment, that contract signing they did, which I guess they were trying to give Cody an edge going over Cena last week, but Cena just kind of messing with the crowd, saying like, I can't do this at SummerSlam. I have a movie to go film and everything. So I don't know, man. Like the whole Cena heel turn thing is like, I still think the best thing out of this whole heel turn was with Punk, but I'm not even gonna say he needs to go back to a face now. I don't want to say the whole heel turn has failed, but it obviously could have been better. Do I think Cody's gonna win the title at SummerSlam? Not really. I don't know. And it's like I said about John Cena's heel turn forward, like I feel like he hasn't done really anything heinous or drastically almost just, to get the fans to boo him and stuff. So, and I guess still, like, they know he's on his way out the door, so I guess it's really hard to boo him anyway, especially when you're doing a heel turn and everybody knows you're leaving after this year, so there you go. Jacob Fatu was kind of promo backstage talking about Solo, and how he's going to get him at SummerSlam. The Miz showed up. We got a pretty decent pop, given he's from Cleveland, which I didn't even know Miz was gone that long, obviously, off TV. But he says, you put me out long enough to remember who I am, and that I'm not a target. I'm a main character, and then we got a match, and he slapped Jacob, because he said, this is my hometown. So they were getting ready to have a match later on tonight. I know they showed a Black and Priest promo. I guess they're going to have a match next week. Jacob Fatu ended up going against The Miz then, which Solo and them ended up coming out watching involved. Jacob still ended up getting the win over The Miz, but then right after someone say Discount Bloodline at this point, end up attacking, Solo. Jimmy tried to come help, but they ended up getting him too. Basically, Jacob ended up trying to put a chair around his head and everything, and clothesline him into it and stuff, and Jacob was still trying to fight out of it. Solo ended up picking up Jacob then, hit him with the Samoan spike then, as I think fans started to chant "fuck you, Solo" then right after, which they kind of had to censor out then, so I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, they're trying to put as much heat onto the Solo and the heels as much as they can. Right after that, I already showed more Hogan accomplishments throughout the night. Zelina Vega ended up going up to Julia, saying she wants her U.S. Women's title back. Kiana James, who haven't seen in God knows how long, which makes you wonder if she even still worked in this company at this point, actually showed up tonight in return. I know they said she was either injured, some say it was a boob job, which I can kind of see that looks really different with her right now. So, yeah, but she's been gone for a while, but I guess now she's a representative for Julia, and now we'll be speaking for her and saying that you will get your rematch next week, basically. So I guess she's going to be like her secretary or something. So we'll see what happens with that. Next, the main event happened. The Wyatt Six versus Rey Fenix and Andrade for the tag team titles. Basically, the match wasn't bad, but it ended up in a DQ finish. Obviously, all the other tag teams just start running out there. The Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxium, DIY, the Street Profits. They all end up just clearing the ring. And which fan chat, this is awesome once everybody just started diving all over the place then. And then Nick Aldis says, you know what? It's all these teams right here. It's going to be a TLC match at SummerSlam with 6 teams. So at least I'll say this. At least this match, a tag team title match, will actually make it to pay-per-view this time. Because it's like, damn, they couldn't even get the TLC match on WrestleMania. But it's like, you know what? We'll decide to put it on SummerSlam this time. Okay, it's like we messed up not putting it on WrestleMania, which was still crazy to me. Because let's be honest, the Raw tag division is dead anyways, and nobody really cares. But at least with SmackDown, I can say that. I talked about tag teams here and there. I said in the past that this wasn't really getting over, but it looks like it has been consistent, and I could say at least SmackDown does more with the tag teams here than what they do on Raw. So at least they'll actually make the card this time in a TLC match, which should be pretty wild though. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're almost a week away from SummerSlam. It's obviously going to be the next review coming up in the next week. So yeah, these pay-per-views just come by real fast, almost every other week at this point. Okay. So we'll see what happens next week. Other than that, though, SmackDown was really good. Obviously, the tribute to Hulk Hogan and whatnot, and obviously the promo from Cody Rhodes. the main event was what it was, and setting up the TLC match. The Orton, Jelly Roll, Logan Paul, McIntyre thing continues and stuff. Like I said, it was Cleveland. A lot of people from Cleveland was on this show tonight. I'll say that. Miz and others. So, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode, and built a little bit more into next week for SmackDown. So yeah, not a bad show. Not a bad show tonight. Other than that, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, HoodTheNight890. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Check out the TNA Impact Wrestling review I reviewed from yesterday's show. And obviously, check out the video I did talk about the passing of Hulk Hogan yesterday. So, yes, rest in peace to him. And other than that, we're out of here. We'll see you guys later. And peace out.